then we got Bryson trying to kick things off with this series, fellas. I don't know what to expect. How are you guys feeling about this series?
Well, if the last few days have taught us anything, is that anything can and will happen in the CDL. I'm not even going to lie. I don't know how to explain some of the results we've seen the last couple of weeks. All I do know is that it's getting very spicy in the bubble as we head into Major 4.
Honestly, I don't even know how to sort of analyze it at this point. It's like, if you see both the games that both these teams had last night, you're like, okay, well, if they both lose these, yes, it's fine. But the fact that they both win them, and both win this map against Seattle and FaZe, and then they challenge each other on it for first map on the series, I mean, it's setting it up so nicely. I'm very excited to get into it with what is a massively huge game. Boston could do with the win, absolutely, but it feels like LAG maybe need it that little bit more. Very curious how things are going to work out here on map number 1, but it should be a banger of a series.
At the moment, a lot of kills going the way of LAG, and you can see them just getting a bit of dominance here towards the middle of this map as they try to get a few points going through as well. TJ trying to deflect that pressure, but at the moment, not an awful lot on the board for Boston. They will be looking, though, to try and make some kills and then get this rotation into P2.
Looking to try and break the spawns that LAG do have a hold of currently. 7 of the 11 rotations against FaZe yesterday, they came out on top. It's obviously something they're going to be looking to keep going. And if Slasher can keep that KD that he had up yesterday going, then the team are going to be looking good here today. It's a 4-0 start for Austin. Let's see if we can keep things rolling. But just playing these sort of positions in and around the field side, if he can lock this down as best as he can, it will help his squad. Looking towards these rotations, it's looking like LAG are going to be the first ones there. They get the spawns in towards back 10, and mostly the kill feed in their favor as well. Good start from the side of LAG.
Oh, he's already pushing this one out. You can do this on P2 as long as your back is secured. They're going to have to be careful, though. At the moment, the teammates just being in the right position for it, but you can see Boston already trying to look for this flip, and that's the issue. If you're not going to get secure for the spawns, you can flip out as well. And now it's going to be LAG. They have to push through grannies. They have to try and get towards P2. It is a difficult prospect.
And Huke does the right thing there. It was just a bit of bad timing. The rest of the team had already pushed past grannies. It was kind of like ships in the night. Gets a little bit unfortunate. Then the river spawn comes in for Boston, and it's a relatively easy break. An unexpected one for the side of LAG. Boston in and around it though, and Methodz is going to have a good game today, I would say. Based on how Slasher has been playing, you need to see that form that we've seen from Methodz in previous stages come to the forefront, but it really has been about the SMGs on these teams, especially when it does come down to blockage. That's obviously very important. Our start time is going to go over towards the side of Boston Breach. This rotation, though, once again, LAG's favor, but the lead very much with Boston Breach.
At the moment, they are set up for this one as well. Spart's a very slow Chow actually coming through that door as TJ looks to line them up, but he's going to need reinforcements. Heavily damaged with just 12 health. Eventually, Neptune will take him down, but Vivid's going to come in for the trade as well. And it looks like Boston might have had an opportunity there to lock it down, but it's not going to work. Sparta and Huke coming back, firing to flip those spawns, and they are in a good place for LAG.
Yeah, heads up play from Huke coming in there. Manages to find himself around, holding a couple of kill cams, and all of a sudden, LAG just spawning there, and then winning the gunfights inside the point on top of that. Nice and on the kick in that situation. Neptune inside the point, starting to live up to the hype we did expect of him, it has to be said, at the beginning of the year. There's another one under his belt. There's a third. It's all Neptune inside the point right now. Boston may well get in, but for only 15 seconds or so. It's another good rotation out of LAG, but this time they're getting the lead from it. Once again, those rotations looking like LAG's way, keeping an eye on Vivid heading over towards this next hill over towards Bonnie. Lifting up Bryce C. He's going to manage to get a hold of the tin side. There's the spawns in. Well played from Vivid.
See, already pushing that. He knows somebody's going to try and hit his river. Neptune has been sitting here patient. Neptune doesn't really want to move until some of his teammates make a couple of kills, because he can get in here, but nobody's going to have his trade, and that's going to be the issue. Nero just waiting for him all the time in the world for it. Boston have this on lock, and LAG are going to need more firepower to break it in the end. You can see already it's actually going to go forward, but it's an easy cut down on Neptune eventually getting through into this one. And Vivid gets bad timing, as it will be LAG dominating the kill feed.
Yeah, they managed to dominate the kill feed, but Methodz over towards the back here. Game starting to just heat up a little bit. Players running into their strides, and there you go. Nero through the front door, finds a couple, and all of a sudden, that little bit of positivity for the side of LAG is completely rebutted against him. It's Boston inside the point. That's a really, really good time for Boston. Once again, LAG early on those rotations. They want to make sure they lock this in, but they need to do maybe just a little bit more with it, because right now, Boston seems to be gunning after a bit of a slow start. It is their lead. It's a 30.1 at that, and we know on Bokaj it can be enough to turn the tide of the game in your favor.
Oh, Slasher trying to look the down against Methodz. He's just trying to keep an eye on as the nades do rain in on him. And you can see Boston trying to squeeze this one. Huke has got a lot of pressure coming towards his way, but he gets one as well, stays alive. His teammates desperately trying to reinforce him here on the point. And eventually, Slasher on that Overwatch position does do it, and Huke is going round the houses looking for more players. This guy is firing on all cylinders, eventually taken down by Nero, but it has caused a little bit of a problem for Boston. They do not have the bodies where they want them. They are going to continue to push this issue eventually. And with that fight going down towards the back of the spawn, you can see it's TJ with 3. That means who's left on this hill is going to be going down very, very shortly.
It's all TJ towards the back, and he's the last one through the door to find the 4th as well. Fantastically well done for TJ. It was about 15, 16 seconds that they're going to pick up off the back of that. That 30-point lead they had has been decimated somewhat by LAG. But TJ saves their blushes and saves them from being behind heading into this second rotation. Keen to see how Vivid can pick things up here. We know how much of a game he can really have on this map. How good he was yesterday for the side of Boston. Needs to be there for the squad. And most of the time, it hasn't really been about the SMGs yet. It's been about these rotations, and it's been about the breaks that have potentially come through for Boston. TJ having a great game at 17 and 13. Let's see if we can keep it up here. Slasher slowed down after a hot start as well.
Yeah, he really got a lot of kills in that first kind of P1, P2 switch over, and since then, not been the best of story for him. But as we are on this second set of rotations, the game as close as it might as well be tied. They're just trying to hold down Grandies. It's not going to work for them. It's now going to be LAG looking to maybe push this pressure for him, but Nero is sitting there waiting for this play to come through. Somehow Huke almost wins it, staying alive. Reinforcements funding into tag as LAG. They managed to get kills going down for as well. Only Vivid can make the difference. Finds one, finds the second. Teammate still spawning in for P2. It's all good, and only Slasher can deflect this, but TJ's found him as well, and it's a great hold there from Boston in the end.
Yeah, Vivid does his job fantastically there. But I mean, look, the rest of the team do spawn behind him. They probably would have kept a hold of it, but it makes it easier when your SMG's finding kills like that. LAG now in the back foot. Look how far Boston are pushed up. You got Vivid in a horrible little position for you to try and get past. You got Nero running around in Gromos. It's an absolute nightmare for LAG to try and get past. Slasher will deal with them both, and eventually the push will start to come on through, but that's 20 seconds uncontested for the Boston Breach here on P2.
They certainly are doing a great job, Tan. Let's find out how they're feeling in the comms. The Boston Breach, listen in.
Last guy probably got it.
Staying down on time.
Yep.
It's out. I don't see him.
That's not him, not him. It's Austin. It's Austin.
Okay. Got it.
Nice. In the back.
10 seconds.
I'm in your house. Split on, bro.
Down on time.
I need it front side time. I'm coming up behind him. I swung.
Nice.
Yo, the shooter. Dead. Nice. One man. Home. I think I'm running down minute.
Go.
Nice. Nice job. Nice, good shit.
Looking for support.
Hyper.
Could be tunnel or some shit, like deep right?
They could be each other. They could be
I'm going back. I'm going back.
I'm top house right now.
Angle to the left.
Yo, shooter.
I got one.
Yo, deep. Spark's in deep back.
I'll flick it up.
Back window,
Silo dead.
Nice.
I'm flicking tunnel.
Play together.
Yep.
Push out down. Front side time and back side time weak.
Okay.
Push out front.
Yeah, front doors and max at time.
You saw him in the back.
No, on the barrels.
Kitchen, Jelly, back kitchen, flying at you.
Let's go in.
Nice time.
I'm one for him.
Another kitchen.
Nice.
Silos.
Get
Get in your kitchen.
You can be
Could be A5.
Every left.
I'm picking back window. Deep spot. Absolutely back window.
Back right.
One shot back window.
Back right, Austin.
They're gonna be pushing up on us.
Yep.
Get this time. They're not gonna know.
I'm seeing your time.
Time. Watch out. Alright, make sure we get this time.
I think front doors.
Nothing straight.
I'm on front doors.
Looking kitchen.
I'm gonna go right. I'm gonna actually.
A plot.
How are we gonna hit hold?
Tyler.
Be up. I'm be up, Eddie.
I don't see him.
Yo, what's in his hold? He's at kitchen or something.
Oh, no. Absolute Slasher. Absolute. You went back river, I'm pretty sure. He was one shot though.
One's gonna be red on us.
Well, you can see Boston Breach are going to be in the lead for this one. Some big plays coming out of TJHaly and Nero. And now, can they see and stay alive to this one? LAG have been loading up the kill feed recently, Tan, and they do have a firm grip on this barn.
LAG get maybe a little bit unfortunate over towards P3 during that listening. And just to flip the spawns at pretty much the perfect time. They got a hold of barn control. They pushed out expecting Boston to be there. Boston spawned towards the back. And while this rotation for LAG, though, although they lost the last 20 points in the previous hill, they have locked down the first 30 here over towards P4. Those rotations so important yesterday. And once again, paying off for the side of LAG. Huke now feeling it, skating around Package once again. And Boston are really struggling to find a foothold here. They're getting 1 or 2 players through at a time, but it's not enough to break what good of a hold LAG have had on here. And that is going to be the majority, if not all, of the time on P4 over towards the LA side.
Well, at the moment, this rotation could prove very, very critical. You already see Boston Breach trying to spread wide and hold every angle they possibly can for this. However, they've lost Granny's control. They are spawning out towards River. If they lose a couple more kills here, they are in a big danger. You can already see they've given up the hill time. They know they have to try and hold this. Slasher guns Methodz as well. And it's a little bit chaotic on the mini-map.
It's a big fight for Slasher to win. The rest of the team will then spawn in, but are Boston ready for it? The angle's been held by TJ. Spark does not care one little bit. There's a second onto Vivid as well. An LEG breakthrough phenomenally. It's that big kill from Slasher towards the back. We said he had a slow middle part of the game. Now starting to heat up on a 5 spree himself. The ARs for LAG getting the job done. Make it 6 in a row for Slasher. Can't quite find the 7th. And that would have been huge for the side LAG, who still do trail. ARs on both sides of the coin, though. Going well. 4 in a row now for Methodz. Make it 5, 6, and 7. We'll line it up, but LAG just can't quite break through. Both teams stepping up to the plate when it matters, but still Boston in the lead, Bryce.
It is, and they are both scrapping for this time over and over again as we go into our third set of rotations. Boston will be here first, but keep an eye. Huke is sitting pretty in barn. He's going to try and make some magic happen by the look of it. He's been sitting there for quite a while, waiting for it to come through. There we go. Eventually, Huke gets that first kill. Now he's diving out the back of barn. He's looking to try and flip this. They're all looking for him on Boston. They don't know where he's gone, and he finds a second one. And Huke is still going. He's trying to flip these spawns by himself. Incredible patience to sit in the back here. And with the spawns now coming in river, he's almost done enough. He gets another kill towards the back, but Nero finds him in the end. 30 seconds of play, and unfortunately for Huke, it's not going to pay out.
Yeah, it's just a little bit early to be trying to do that sort of thing. I mean, I absolutely appreciate the job he's trying to do there, but it's very, very difficult when there's that amount of time left to go. Boston trying their best just to keep LAG off it, but they've been taken away slowly. All that Huke was doing there, yes, okay, may not have succeeded in flipping the spawns. He was causing issues, but has he caused enough? Is Boston through the front door now? It's about 15, 16 point lead, but look at the game clock as well. Bearing in mind, 25 seconds to go. It's surely got to all end over towards P2.
Well, Huke's there again. He's waiting patiently one more time, and there are many bodies here for LAG, but Boston also have a spot. Managed to find 2, but it's not going to be enough. Players going by goddamn Methodz, running back towards the hill. He knows the player's
10 seconds.
Barn. He's
Gotta get in.
trying to hold this. Unbelievable from both teams, just keeping them off with 7 seconds left to go. They have to go, and Huke goes in. He finds the kill, stops that clock for a second, but it's not enough. 15 seconds away. Neptune has to dive.
Oh, that's huge.
Will win it on the timer, surely. Down it goes in the end. And it just didn't work out. Too much time had gone. LAG had to sprint at the hill, and Boston hold it. But it is a close, chaotic game all the way through Bocage.
TJ like a bouncer on the front door there. No ID, no entry, boys. Do not get past him in tank. Do not touch the hill. And that is it for LAG. They were so close all the way through, back and forth. Nobody really extended more than a 30-point lead. In the end, it will be Boston Breach who just about hold on. But what about that from Nero? 39-30. I mean, everybody had their moments there in that game. But 4,200 damage. Big game out of him. And just in the end, Boston able to break through quite a lot of these rotations that were won by LAG. Just a couple of good breaks from them, a couple of good holds. It was really hard to actually distinguish who was really holding the momentum. It never felt like any particular team were the ones doing most of the damage. It felt like maybe towards the end of that second rotation, that's when Boston felt the most in control. It was still the flip from LAG, but it was still the control from Boston Breach. That's now 3 games in a row on Bocage Hardpoint. Things are going very, very swimmingly for that side on this map in particular. The SMGs, the change up for them, working out. For the side of LAG, though, that's going to be a little bit of a disappointment. You had your heat up moments, but it's not quite enough to get the job done. Couldn't quite flip the spawns there for Huke as well over towards the beginning of that final hill. And the time just not on their side. It got fast and frantic, but as said, TJ does a sensational job in holding them off towards the end. That could have made a huge difference if LG found a route through, Bryce.
Yeah, that's what they were hoping for. Like, the issue with letting a timer go down, and I've said this in many of these games so far, is realistically, that's not what a lot of teams play for. It seemed what Boston went for right at the very end, and that's with a few seconds left, but getting time is always kind of the way you ended up playing it. But the problem is always going to be, for LAG, it's a difficult hold if they got on from bad side. Boston were just in the zone over and over again, and that's probably the reason we saw Huke make the plays he did. He was desperately trying to flip it so he could lock it down for themselves. It just never really paid off, and you have to give a little bit of props to that to Boston. They knew he was somewhere back there over and over again, and they made sure they didn't let him get it.
I mean, props to Boston for winning the gunfights in the middle of the map as well. Huke may well have been causing chaos, but nobody else from the side of LAG could get there to back that man up. And All of a sudden, Spawn's coming for Boston, and it's pretty much job done at that point of the game. And you know, they didn't commit to just picking up those points and extend that lead. They very much would just keep off it. Everybody stay away, so good communication out on the Boston side. Very much making the assertive play there. Moving into the search and destroy though. Both teams sitting at 4 and 5 on this one. I completely agree with Nameless on the desk there before. This is literally the perfect map set for what should be a really, really entertaining game. I wouldn't say it necessarily favors one or the other, but it is going to be Boston to take away that Bakash hard point to kick things up. S&D, as I said, it could be interesting. I'm curious about the SMGs and these first bloods that are potentially going to come on through. Lower numbers for both these SMGs, but we do know that both these teams are trying to kind of orientate their game style around them to try and move forward as a team, to try and get up into that top 8 playoff point. That's where you want to be. And it's very curious to see how these SMGs are going to play in this map. We have seen Boston recently lose at round 11 up against OpTic. Things could get a little bit messier. I don't know, Bryce. I feel like I'm waffling. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm very confused as to how it... But reassure me, please, mate, because I'm confused to which way this one's going to go.
First of all, you're always waffling, so let's just get that one out of the way. The second thing here is, and I can kind of understand your problem, it's the same issue I'm having. Coming into this split, Boston had one of the hardest schedules. This was actually the game I thought they probably would take going forward. Especially considering all the team changes that have gone on. It's the rest of the games I didn't really expect them to take, but also LAG and FaZe yesterday. Upsets are happening in the CDL, and the problem you have with that is the inconsistency of guessing where these teams benchmark and how you can actually figure out how well they're playing. Considering both these teams basically took down Atlanta and Seattle, like how do you figure out how the rest of this is going to go? What I will say is that with Boston basically doing their hardest schedule in this stage and looking like they could come out of it with a considerable amount of points, it's a very scary prospect for everybody else in the bubble. LAG with that upset last night gives them a little bit of a cushion, but they would love to have this one as well to try and draw a little bit further up that lead before we get to Major 4.
I mean, if Boston Bridge come away with the win, yeah, they're not safe, but they're in such a good spot. Sitting at 160, and it kind of creates a bit of a gap there. If Boston managed to win this, of course, yes, they do bump themselves up to 5th position. But then from there, LAG are still going to be around 15 points off the next team, which is going to be Toronto Ultra. You would expect them to at least pick up a couple of results, although shaky series are across the board for them as well. I don't know. I think for Boston here, this win, it doesn't quite secure it for me in any sense of the imagination, but it puts them in such a good spot to be finishing in the top 8. LAG with this win, then claw Ultra and breach right back into it as well. It's such an interesting game. It kind of makes the bubble either bigger or a lot smaller on one side of the coin.
I've got a whole new light on kind of Boston coming into this split. Realistically, I think Nero has been playing out of his mind. He's been probably Boston's best player for a while. TJ was having a great series just then, as well as Vivid. Methodz a little bit slow, but it is Bakash. It maybe doesn't suit him as well as it could. But hey, you do just enough to make sure your team get into the positions they need to be. Don't worry about the KD ratio for him. It has been a long time since we've seen him drop like a 36 and a 15 on Gavudu. But it doesn't matter if the rest of your team is making those kills that you can't make, then it doesn't matter as long as you're in the right position for it. And Boston Breach are benefiting from a surge upwards right at the end of the year. And that's scary for so many teams. It's more scary for the New York Subliners, who we've been talking about non-stop for weeks and weeks. They're trying to make a Cinderella run, and they need basically everybody in the bubble to lose. Otherwise, they might not even have a chance. They could go flawless this split and still have a terrible time.
I mean, look, NYSL would have been sick to their stomachs last night. To see LAG and Boston both beating FaZe and Seattle, it's just, they would have make our job a little bit easier. They are doing everything they can, and absolutely, it's their own fault for being where they are. But they're doing as much as they possibly can. They're winning every single game. But so all of these teams around the bubble, it's like, come on, give us guys a break. I mean, they've got a game against OpTic later on this evening as well, which is going to be a banger. I don't know. It's just heating up so nicely. I mean, we've got 2 weeks more of online games coming in here. Then it's all land from there. I'm just so excited for the end of this season. I think, you know, we haven't talked about the points as much up until the last 2 qualification stages, of course, and I'm really investing in it here because it's such a great story to see some of these teams just all over the place, Bryson. I have no idea how it's going to end up, to be honest with you. There is no prediction that could possibly be right at this stage.
No, there certainly isn't. My pick'em's a choice. But let's have a little look at our points. And the reason I want to kind of highlight this, and you're going to hear us, all of the talent, harp on about this over and over again. The bubble is real. Right now, it has squeezed down a little bit. You would say Surge and the Ravens have kind of escaped that super danger zone. But with Ultra, Breach, LAG, Thieves, Røkkr, Mutineers, and the Subliners all sitting there, still fighting for these spots. Every single one of these games matters incredibly much. Obviously, Boston, they win this, they go up into 5th, 160 points. LAG, they close the gap a little bit. But when you've got people like Florida and Minnesota and Thieves all battling to try and just keep themselves above water, they certainly don't want to see any of these teams, Lou, kind of win or gain points. So it's a really interesting prospect to kind of put such weight on the games at the end of the season for these points.
Yeah, it's massive. And I'm going to look at Thieves in the second game coming up. That's a huge game against Paris. A one that they absolutely have to win, a one they'll be expected to win. But we spoke about this before. Paris could potentially be the Reapers. They haven't really shown me any reason that they can be so far in this bit. It has to be said. But at the same time, look, going up against Thieves, Thieves can be shaky. We know they can sometimes sometimes, you know, it's one of those situations. Let's see how they do. That's a crazy series that potentially could be coming up, obviously, in our second game of the evening. But this one has just started and it's going to start heating up. What game number one out of these two teams as we head into Barrage once again. Search and destroy on the cards this time. Curious to see how Boston are going to attack this one. Technically, you would say they're probably favorites heading into this one if we're looking at the stats from recently, at least anyway. LAG, though. Can they spoil the party once more?
Well, we will find out. Second map in, obviously, Barrage, and technically the statistics for this one all favor LAG. But I don't know, man. Statistics has been a weird thing in the CDL recently. They haven't meant an awful lot, ton.
No, I honestly don't know why I do the research every week. I don't know why I bother. Half the time it's just, hey, speak about these things, the opposite happens. By the way. Yeah, thank you. Well, exactly. I'm not going to take any of the credit. Let's be honest. Anyway, search and destroy. Off we go.
Just on board with Methodz and holding it down towards River. Wonder if we'll get a chow here from Slash when that first day comes through. No dice for him, and Neptune has found Vivid, but not able to kind of eat his dinner. Huke gets that first blood, and that's huge for the LAG. There is now a small hole on the map. Where are they going?
It's going to be the play here for the side of LAG. Going to come in here, Slasher. On the tank is always a good position to be in, but not when Vivid is already watching where you are. Huke will find that kill onto Nero, who was maybe trying to get aggressive over towards that A side. Vivid tries to do the same, survives. No utility on his way yet. And I don't think they would expect Methodz to be here as well.
Sneaky, sneaky, crouchy Methodz. Looking for that first kill, and he gets it. Brings it back to a 2 versus 2. With that bomb down, though, they're going to have to work in concert to try to crack this nut. Huke watching as well. The bomb is basically not really planted for back or for front. And Huke's sitting on it, going through Neptune, gets one, though, and his Methodz left alone again, and Huke is going to take him down. And what could have been a little bit of a clutch there for Boston hasn't worked out.
It's the neutral setup that comes in for LAG. 60% win rate when they kind of just sit back, wait for that first kill, they find it, and all of a sudden it's a transition over towards A. They're just slow and steady, looking for the picks, looking to catch Boston out as best as they can. Good job here from the side of LAG. They will find that first attack. I mean, last time around that we seen the Breach and OpTic go up against each other on this map specifically, it was very defense-oriented. Only seen attacking rounds coming in over the previous final couple of rounds, but this is something I want to speak of as well. 2-16 on their A pushes on Search and Destroy. It's looking like a little bit of a slower one, a bit more of a neutral setup, similar to what LAG did in that previous round, looking for a pick themselves.
Well, both teams actually playing this very passive and waiting for the information to come through. He's already making a noise, and he knows he's going to back off because somebody's going to wall bang that wall in a second. Now they make their move across. It is looking like Boston potentially want to take a bit of A control here. Vivid waiting. There's the wall bang. Open. He knows Neptune is there, and he does get the grenade in, I think. No, I think it fell out. But a dangerous time. How on earth are both teams still got 4 players alive? Eventually, Slasher makes a pick. Spark makes a pick. And now a 2 versus 4 for Boston.
LAG, the kings of first blood, win percentages on Barrage, and another round underneath their belts. Fantastically well done, and as soon as that first blood goes in, it's panic stations for Boston. They don't really know where to go from there, and it's almost like, okay, try trade it, try go for the trade, see if we can set something up to go in our favor, and LAG win the second one, and it's pretty much curtains from there for the side of Boston. Just to reiterate that, LAG first in first blood win percentage on this map across the CDL, and both 2 rounds that they found those first bloods, they managed to win, Bryce.
Yeah, they've got this locked in. The strategy book is fully out in play. They know exactly where they want to make this go through. And Slasher going towards back again. You can see Boston have gone for a B dominant here. Actually getting aggressive with it. Changing the momentum of this game. And back to back at this door. Slasher's found the first one. Nero doesn't know what's going on. Eventually Nero peeks out, but he hasn't found anyone. He's going to see 2. He's gone for Slasher. Decides not to hold it any longer. Finds Huke, but he isn't able to finish that one either and will eventually go down. And now Vivid being aggressive one more time. Wobbly on spot, but it works. And oh my goodness, the kills are coming through thick and fast, Hun.
How on earth have we ended up here? Why is Methodz back here on the defensive side of things? LAG are running through Boston at the moment. So many first bloods. It's just making it so difficult for Boston, who, on occasion, especially on the attacks, look a little bit lost, where LAG are really... I want to say they're being the ones who are leading this dance in a certain way. They're being proactive. They're the ones forcing their way forward. They're the ones looking for these picks. Boston seem to be a little bit stuck in the mud for me. I'm not too sure if they want to maybe change up their game mode. I'm not too sure.
I don't know, man. They went aggressive there, but it was kind of
It's
like
the
a
reaction.
B dominant push, and they didn't really have the space to maneuver, and the trades weren't going their way. After that first pick, I think the entire issue is
this is
Nero's
not
going to go for it as well, but he loses the first blood, and the trades come in again. LAG, they get the first blood. Huke's 5-0, eventually bringing it back to a 2 versus 2. This is a potentially good spot here for Boston. Finally bringing those numbers down just a little bit.
Neptune thanking the Lord for doors in that scenario. TJ just kind of a little peek there as LAG position themselves mostly over towards B, but Spot, he may well be left all alone. But it's an interesting position that he's managed to hold up. He should be able to find a kill here on the Methodz, and will do so, and will make it a 1v1, but does he know where TJ is? The answer is no. TJ will find the kill. And Boston Breach eventually find some sort of momentum in themselves. And in that situation there, Bryce, that was proactive on the attack, that's a little bit better from them. Get those kills to make things maybe just a little bit more chaotic and go from there. Well played from the side of Boston.
Yeah, you got to say, obviously, Methodz bringing it back to 2 versus 2, very important, but it just almost didn't work out for him, coming down to a 1v1, and Spark kind of had to try and pick his poison. He assumed the teammate would be closer than he actually was, but TJ was already and waiting for him, pre-aimed in. Back onto the attack with LAG. Nero's gone straight into barn here. I don't think they know he's here. He's found one. He's found a second as well. Nero explosive through the map, but it's now only going to be... Oh, never mind. It's done. It's dusted. Boston Breach, take it to them.
He's just gotten Huke as well towards the end there. We'll see it in the final kill cam, I hope. But I think, honestly, what I was speaking about, I felt like Boston were maybe a little bit slow. Yeah, okay, in that defensive round that we've seen things kick off on the dim like comment, they got, you know, aggressive over towards B. But it feels like they've just unleashed Nero and said, okay, well, things aren't working out. You just run at them and see what happens. I mean, it's kind of my tactic in Search and Destroy and rank play. If things ain't working, I just run towards them. Most of the time, I die immediately. But Nero, not this time. Neptune and Spot. Huke followed. 3 kills for him. Boston Breach. Very, very quickly back into this.
Yeah, I'm really loving the adaptation that are coming through. They're being aggressive. They're not allowing LAG to play their positions and lock things down. They are putting the pressure on them. And that's maybe why LAG aren't reacting as quickly as they want, but that time they've run into it. The trade comes through, though, a 3 versus 3. It's erupting again here on Bacage. Nero trying to do something, but isn't going to get through, and he finds players. It's a jump, it's a slide, it's a shoot, it's a runaway. It's still a 3 versus 3, though.
Everything being broken inside the Grandma. She won't be very happy. Oh my goodness me, Neptune Nelly around the corner onto Nero. It's a 2 versus 2. Things have exploded here on Bacage, and all of a sudden it's an LAG win. There is nothing slow about this Search and Destroy. Both teams just meeting in the middle here and swinging, Brycey. Oh, the UFC card ended last night. It's still ongoing. Just punching the hell out of each other.
I like it. I think Boston have realized that a higher tempo may pay out for them. It didn't on that round. But that doesn't mean it won't again. I'm kind of expecting more pressure coming in from Boston, trying to see if they can get LAG to kind of fumble the ball. Are they going to go for it again, or will this be a slowdown? The slowdown kind of rounds haven't worked for them. Here we go. Oh no, Slashy gets the first blood. Slowdown for Boston has cost them again.
And the problem is with getting so aggressive is that the team that you're going up against are going to make that adaptation to counteract that. Of course, LAG, we've seen it in the previous round, spot ready and waiting literally towards the back of Grandma's inside it, like towards the back P3 point. Ready for this push to come through. Look where Slasher is. Slasher ain't moving. He's the one that finds that first blood once again for the side of LAG. They have the advantage, and when they do find that advantage, very often they're converting it into a round here. Slowly but surely making their way over towards A. Methodz may see something over towards top Grandma's, if he over towards top barn, I should say, if he does have a little peek. He had the push, starting to come on through. What can Boston do about it?
At the moment, they're looking to try and get a little bit of dominance towards it. That is going down. They have the control here. They're looking to see if he can pick anybody when they do rain in, and he stays. Now Boston have to retake.
Who's it going to be on? Well, it's not going to be on Vivid because he's dead. Nero now. Up top, Grandma's. Does he get a bit of good timing? Yes, he does, but unfortunately, the rest of his team not there to help him. The rechild from Neptune. He'll be happy about that one as LAG go a round away from tying the series up. These first bloods have just been so crucial for both these squads. The rechild comes through from Neptune because of course it does. LAG in prime position here now, Bryce.
And I got to say, I think Boston go aggressive again. I've got a
Seems
feeling.
to be the only way.
Yeah. LAG seem just too kind of locked in whenever they have an opportunity to slow down. And here we go, Boston on the attack. It's an A dominant here from LAG. They've gone aggressive themselves. They've tried to counter whatever's coming their way. Neptune already through. Gonna jump in, but he is gonna lose the first blood this time. Nero finds it. There's another kill coming through now. Surely Vivid is going to find out wherever this player is, because he's lost him. He has lost him. That player has got away from him, but not Spark. Vivid is through. Huke gets another trade coming forward, and both teams now erupting as all semblance of battle lines has fallen off of the map. It slashes into 1 versus 2, and down he goes, and Boston find it eventually. But that was just warfare all across Bacage.
I mean, sometimes it just feels like close your eyes, sprint, and see who you run into. It's just a wild, wild round. Vivid runs through Bomb Grandma's with an auto in his hand, gets all the way through kitchen.
Loses the player he was following.
I don't know how to explain that round. There's sometimes that I think I know what I'm talking about in Call of Duty, but I struggle to understand what happened there, Bryce, if I'm honest.
Well, you see, at this point in the map, obviously the tactical awareness to hit sprint at max speed and slide cancel at Mach 4 has worked out for them. But we are going back into this. LAG, obviously, we are expecting slow and steady and maybe a gentle glacial push towards A. But we'll see if they can find that first blood again. At the moment, nobody from Boston daring to peek that head above the parapet.
Very different than last round. Both two teams posturing, looking for that pick. This works out for LAG more often than not. But Boston ain't showing a goddamn thing here.
Now they're really far back as well.
Yeah, not grenading, Richard. Oh, okay. Oh my goodness me, yes it did. It felt like he held it for a long, long time, but coordinates it well with the side. The slasher, there's that first blood. TJ's able to answer back with one of his own and gets away. Nero does not. 3v2.
TJ is watching that bomb like a hawk. He isn't expecting anybody to get across it there, but Methodz gets one back to a 2v2. Huke gets one more, and now Methodz has to clutch. He does have time for it. He's going to slide around the corner. He's going to find nothing. Oh, LAG get it, and it's off the back of the first bloods over and over again. It was the difference maker for them, Ton.
A really, really entertaining search and destroy is what it is. But yeah, LAG, those first bloods just paying off nearly every single time. I'll be really interested to see how many they did get, but it felt like a lot. And Boston didn't really have too much of an answer to it. The statistics this time around are backing us up. There you go, 7 out of the 9 rounds go over towards LAG on the first blood front. They convert 6 of them. That is a very, very good conversion. It's a very good sign for LAG on the first blood front as well. It just gives you that automatic advantage. If you're those teams who are finding these pick and then especially converting them, it makes all of the difference in these search and destroys. In the end, a comfortable game for the side of LAG, and the only answer Boston had was kind of, well, screw it and send it down mid-map. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It did work for a couple of rounds, but LAG switched themselves on and tie this series up. And it's set up quite nicely for the next 3 maps here, Bryce, if I'm honest with you. What a first 2 maps this has been. Both 2 teams look to be firing, and I'm interested heading into Tuscan there, but that was a really good performance from LAG on the map there. They would have come into and had a lot of hope with that first blood percentage very much working out in their favor.
Yeah, it certainly has, and that sets us up nicely for the rest of the series. Currently, Boston Breach and LAG are all tied up, but it cannot remain that way. Joining us after this break for more action, the Call of Duty League.
Call of Duty League is brought to you by Mountain Dew and Zenny. Armor your eyes with Blocks gaming glasses starting at $24 by visiting zenny.com/CDL.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Call of Duty League. We are in a game versus Boston Breach and LA Guerrillas. Currently 1-1 between these two teams. It's been double barrage so far. The hard point was close. The S&D was not. For the control, who knows, Tons?
Oh, God, honestly, who knows at this stage? See, we've had too many crazy results to go on to come up with any sort of semblance of normality here. But these two teams are very much on the precipice at this moment in time and need these wins. Arguably, as said, LAG maybe needed that a little bit more than Boston do. They've tied the series up after a mediocre start on map number 1. A very strong search and destroy out of them ties things up heading into Tuscan control. Both these two teams with, well, different fortunes on this map as of recent. Boston 2-0 in stage 4. They both beat... Right, hold on a second. Let me just re-get before I say this. They beat both Seattle and OpTic 3-0. So the form book is on pretty good, Brycey. Has to be said, but LAG were on a 4-game losing streak before beating FaZe yesterday 3-1. So quite the resume of wins as of recent for both these two teams. But either way, it should be an interesting one. It just blows my mind that I read those out and they're actually true.
Yeah, that's kind of what happens recently around these ways. It's all getting a bit crazy and a bit mixy before we go to Major 4. I don't think anybody is 100% certain who isn't making champs at this point, but one thing I do know is that this is going to matter. This game entirely is going to matter. For some people at home, they might not even be fans of these teams, but wanting them to lose one way or the other. If you're a New York fan, you probably want LAG to have a little bit more of a stumble. If you're anybody else in that bubble as well, maybe LAG is the one you're looking to take a dive. I mean, this is the kind of the crazy thing. But Florida, New York, Thieves, Minnesota, you all kind of want LAG to tumble so you feel a bit safer going forward. Like, Florida have got a couple of points. Minnesota have got a couple of points. Everybody's getting more points than we would have expected. There's no team really at this stage throwing it in the bin.
No, and look, I mean, looking at it as well, I mean, if you're in New York, you would have been sat, you know, kind of ready to see where LAG was sitting. LAG were only 15 points ahead of the side of New York. They could be, what, 30 away at this stage when we get towards the end of this game. If they manage to win this, New York have then got less teams to try and catch. LAG could be very much out of their touch, if you like, and I don't know, things get a little bit more scary. I think if you're right, you are right, to be honest with you. If New York are looking at this one, they want to see Boston win it. I would like to see, for them, you want LAG to be within touching distance. They aren't if they win this. It gets a little bit more scary. This is going to be an interesting one. The defensive win percentage, I mean, they're both third. Is that exactly the same? I'm not too sure. Either way, the stats at this stage, let's see if they mean much as we head into Tuscan control. As said, both these teams recently looking very, very solid on this map in particular. Who's going to come out on top this time?
Methodz just waiting, and he's going to get that information. And already Neptune's got a very, very aggressive. Huke's got one as well, but that nade from TJ is going to take down Huke, and Neptune's going to get caught as well. What could have been a great start for LAG has been blown to bits. And oh my goodness, what a chow there from TJ.
It was correct, actually. LAG and Boston both tied for second in defensive win percentage. Exactly the same stats at 80%. It's both these two teams.
His legs.
I mean, yeah, they've just about got through. He's still going. So there you go. Air control is going to go over towards the side of LAG. It looks like they're not going to quite lock this one in because they got a little bit of purchase over towards speed. So Smart is going to join the party. We leave A alone. And we go for the big prize that is B. They're on the point. They're getting a hold of some ticks here as well. But here comes the artillery. Well worked from Boston Breach.
They've got two here. TJ's going to try and push forward. I think he knows where Spot is as well. He's going to take him down, and he's ready for this one at the same time, but so is Huke. And Huke just trying to stay alive for as long as possible. They've got the tick onto B, but that's all they're going to get. Back towards A, stop the clock, and start to push it forward here. However, Vivid has got a bit rogue. He's looking for the players. They know he's here. He's been stunned as well. Still gets away with a kill. Surely not a second one. He is going to eventually go down. But Boston are fighting for this, and now they're going to have to give it up.
Have to be careful, those lives not in their favor. It's a 5-life difference. It's not a lot, but bear that in mind as we start to make this push over towards B. Already one tick secured for either side of LAG, so a minor win, whatever happens in the rest of this round. 6-1 from a slasher. He's picking it up, heading in towards champs. Of course, a former world champion as well. Yeah, he's really stepping it up. Look at this from LAG. Keep an eye on Methodz. He's the one that could be pushing around from behind. He's not the usual player that would be there, but with the auto, he will be a distraction.
Oh.
Okay, never mind. He had to be weak. Neptune's weak. He's got 1 HP.
He was weak. Some of these players really don't wait for their health to regen, and Neptune's a big case of that one. 1 health is going to be the difference. Still alive. Nade's raining onto his face, though. They know where he is as well. Just waiting for him. Eventually that health comes back and he goes for the chow. It's TJ versus Neptune. And neither of them able to finish that either, and goes through and eventually will go down. Boston try to lock this door against them. And it has been all the kills their way. Still a minute left on the board here for LAG, but it's still a hard break.
Look at the lives, though. Keep that in mind. These next couple of kills could be big for Boston. The fact that Vivid finds that, it's a bit of a swing in the opposite direction. You leave Huke inside of radio and nobody else push forward for the side of Boston. It's a very different attacking scenario for the side of LAG. Now it's about trying to clear them out as best as he can. Does Vivid get traded? Yes, he does. Spot and Neptune combining well. Things getting scary for Boston, Bryce.
They're looking for as well. Spot's gonna be a love Nero with a huge two-piece. Shuts down a lot of the pressure. Almost gets a third, but he distracts. Somehow just snapped. Got the kill there as well. But time is now ticking. Boston have 5 lives, but they have the advantage of this time in the pocket. Huke throws one platform, knows Nero's going to be there, goes for the challenge.
Massive.
Methodz. Huke still alive, looks at TJ. TJ takes him down. Both teams swinging into action. That point is ticking through, but TJ finds 2. And Spar with the pre-fire still can't get him. Slash is going for this now. More reinforcements flooding into the point, and Boston hold on.
They've got to go. They've got to go. If you're LAG, you've got to move quickly. And Boston know that. They're ready and waiting. TJ will find one. 3v3.
Slasher gets it. Slasher gets it. Nero's going to go for the double chow. No.
No way.
Wins it. And Methodz gets another one. And it's just Spark
1v1
versus 1. Nero versus Spark. They know where each other must be as well. Gets it. Boston Breach. Hold by the narrowest margin you can do in control. What have we just seen?
I thought Sunday was supposed to be the Lord's Day. A nice calm one. What on earth is going on here? This series is mental. Nero went on a 6 spree to end the round. I didn't even clock onto that. I was just looking at numbers and everything was going on. Honestly.
It was 2 and 6 before that? Oh my goodness.
Anyway, Boston win the defense.
And it's an anticlimax because we're in the next round and we know it's going to slow down here, but Methodz picks up that player pushing P5. And LAG not really looking to put any sort of acceleration onto A at the moment. If they can win these kills around, it will cause issues for Boston. Still being cautious. They're trying not to throw lives away, Tunt.
I've seen Boston maybe do that just a little bit much towards the end of their defensive hold over towards A. This time around, LAG not necessarily sacrificing too much themselves. The lives remain the same, as B is now what's on the cards for both these two teams. Kills coming in mid-map for Boston, so they'll be able to set themselves up here. Slasher, though, an important one out of Vivid. Stops that player, maybe breaking that mid lane. You don't want to give up, and Slasher ain't giving anything up right now. 13 and 6 is going to be 14, not quite.
It's all quiet. Spark gets that blood here, and Neptune just trying to play his life as well. You can see it. Staying alive, and Methodz hits nothing but air, and Neptune's thinking, all right, I might have a go then. He is going to go for it. Methodz as well.
Oh, look at the back line, look at the back line. Vivid's already back there. Here we go. Boston, if he can find the second on the spot, that will be massive. Oh, doesn't quite hit the shots, but here come the rest of Boston, Bryce.
Huke's going up top. He's going to find the first one as well.
Oh my God.
Flame kicked him to the face.
This game is wild. Every single situation that we're having when these teams are going into these big gunfights, the ones that need to come up clutch seem to be doing so time and time again. It's happening either side of this matchup. Boston's still with an opportunity here. The line's just about in the favor of LAG. My goodness me, what is that challenge from Vivid?
I believe that's what is known as slide capturing someone's face off, just right round the corner and took them to bits. And Vivid is still going. He's looking for this one in the back here. He's going to see it, but he's going to catch both of them as well.
Huge.
Spark and Slasher combined to shut it down. Methodz is still here, and Spark's going to have a go at him in just a few seconds. As soon as his life's back, they're trying to find this player. Hasn't found him yet.
And the thing is, here for LAG, they have nobody pushed up. They have nobody who can maybe make that flank. So it's just a batten down the hatches, and let's see if we can hold on here. Methodz and Co. setting themselves up for a break that, well, needs to come quickly. There's only 30 seconds remaining. Methodz will find the first one that Slasher does. That just allow Boston Breach to burst into life. It does so. Vivid, can he find Neptune as well, who's done so well to survive and find a second? It might just slow down Boston.
Just when you think one team's got a bit of an advantage, Neptune steps into the fray. That's 3 for him on this defense. Boston felt pretty assured. They hit ramp, they had the kills. And now they aren't even going to get a tick here towards B. It's the last roll of the dice for them. One last jump, one last go into the fray, but no kills for Boston. Methodz gets 2, but it's a consolation kills. It goes back to 1-1, but it does not feel like it in this series. It feels like it should be 28-29 or something. It's ridiculous.
Kind of reminded me of some of those mid rounds in Bacage. Both teams just sending it. We're seeing big moments from both squads. Everybody stepping up to the plate when needed. My goodness me, this has been a series so far, and we may well have another 2 maps after this one.
At the moment, it does look like a bit of pressure coming towards A for LAG. It's not the B push here. You can see Boston Breach committed to it. Best thing about that, though, is it does allow them to kind of hit a pinch. Now they've got players through mid.
Gotta win the gunfights, though. You gotta win the gunfights. They are just traded 2 for 2. Now Nero can maybe get a little bit aggressive as A was being secured. Huke, well, will survive. But for how long, I'm not too sure. Rest of the side of LAG now coming off the respawn. Huke does survive. Huke manages to push forward. Somehow slipped enemy lines. Finds another. All 4 dead. How on earth is Huke alive? Is now the attention has to turn over towards me. That was momentarily 4 dead. If you're Boston Breach, hold on to those nades. Wait for them to push. But LAG are in a good spot.
Looking for it. It's a huge shot coming out of Neptune. He dives for that one. They're looking for it all the way down low as well. As Methodz tries to go for a challenge, and Huke runs out of ammo. Switches guns. He's continuing the pre-fire. It's not worked out for him, and down he goes. LAG threw everything but the kitchen sink at that one, and it still didn't get away with more than 1 tick. But it certainly rattled Boston.
And Boston had to win their gunfights there. It felt like the majority of the nades had come over and hit nothing but thin air. In the end, they do win those gunfights. They do manage to find a way back into the site. A has now been lost, but LAG still with an opportunity here. Neptune now pushing forward. What's that second kill on the Vivid? Tell me he was weak, please. As Nero will eventually trade it out. Everybody we're going on board with is just gunning. 6-tick advantage to the side of LAG. At this moment in time, of course, things may square up as we head in towards this next round. Boston still do have an opportunity to find an attack in the next one. But LAG now in the ascendancy. Can they find something here in round number 3?
Now, Boston have been able to hold this down last time. And right now, they have an awful lot of map control. LAG are going to prod and probe at this and try to figure out where they can get the wins. Huke already finds 1. This may cause Boston to readjust, but they are still holding firm.
Look at that.
3 players have dived through short ramp. And Methodz gets the first. That's a huge pick for him as well. Looking for the second. He's not going to be able to get it here as Boston try to collapse on it. And eventually they will. Only 1 player left, and it's Huke. Huke again staying alive. Eventually TJ takes him down. And just 1 small gap allowed LAG to break through there, but Boston collapsed in on them and prevented themselves from losing that round, Ton.
Yeah, they lose another tick, though. That's the thing. So LAG only need 1 tick from 1 push. They may just do what they did there, which was stack it very, very quickly. They got a hold of the tick, and that's what they need to do. Again, Vivid behind enemy lines. Is he going to find anything? No, he's not. Nero will come for the trade, but they will work in LAG's favor, and Huke gets on the point and stops the time. Just a little bit of pressure here from Boston. Oh my goodness, how have they held on?
Well, LAG are maybe overextending a little bit here. Hero plays are great, but they don't always work out, and with no kills coming off the back of that one and time running out, Boston will be looking to lock this one. You can see already P5 control desperately. Methodz trying to hold it. The nade hits him in the face.
Takes 1 push.
Bodies.
Just takes 1 push here, Brycey. That 1 tick. But the kills are coming through, and that may well be the final nail in the coffin of this round as Nero will find 2. Felt like LAG always had somebody there, but didn't quite ever have the backup. No, on occasions, I mean, I liked the play that when they pushed down ramp, I really did like that, to go for that tick. They got a hold of it, and well, yes, the grenades came in, they got cleared out, but as you mentioned, those hero plays don't often work out. And it had to be those hero plays, though. There was nobody else around them to really gain that momentum from the push that came through from that single player on multiple occasions.
Yeah, and that's kind of the crazy thing, like being staggered in Call of Duty, especially on Vanguard, essentially making sure that team is not all spawning up at the same time so they can't hit anything as a unit. LAG didn't really want to kind of wait around. Obviously, time's ticking down, but they refused to try and make a play with all 4 players alive because they just wanted to make sure they got into it. And they did some good work, don't get me wrong. The plays were huge, but unfortunately, you're always going to be at a disadvantage. The trades basically mean you cannot end up winning this one. And speaking of trades at the moment, Boston have done it flawlessly so far this round. Neptune gets gunned by Nero. And Boston maybe looking to end this right here and right now. You can already see the stack coming through from them.
Yeah, they really do want to try and end it as quickly as they can because LAG will have defense confirmed in round number 5 if we do indeed get there. LAG do need to hold on to make sure of that, of course. This moment in time, though, as said, Boston getting a hold of A. They did have a little bit of flirt with a push over towards B, but that gets completely shut down by the side of LAG, and they regain control over towards the map side as well, so that's a benefit from them. Point A now secured to the side of Boston Breach. Can they make any sort of route over towards B that can work out in their favor? Good start from Nero, kill and slash it.
Oh, Nero's looking for Neptune. He knows where the flank is coming in. And he's going to find him as well, but it doesn't matter. Spark fortunately makes 2 because it could have gone bad there for LAG. And now Boston trying to stay alive. It's Nero. Just waiting for reinforcements from his teammates.
Oh, it's got to be annoying for Methodz. Neptune all the way over towards Church. Just shutting down any potential flanks here. Boston really taking their time, and they have the luxury to do so. 1 minute and 40 seconds remaining here for the side of Boston to try and find this point. Keep an eye on Neptune, though. He's made his way all the way over from A side, all the way over towards B, but the kill's starting to come on through. Neptune still ran off behind. Huke at the front door. Neptune dealt with, though. And all of a sudden, Boston have got bodies here, Bryce.
They do. Methodz gone on Overwatch. It's still just 1 player on, though. So a little bit of time for LAG to get through into this one. Methodz on Overwatch. Finds 2. That's huge for them as well. But Huke gets one towards Plat, but Nero towards the back. It's all on Huke. He needs to slow down Boston here at this point, and he's not going to be able to. Nero finds him as well. The nades come raining in. TJ's on Overwatch. Boston are winning in the kill feed ton.
It's not looking good for the side of LAG. They're going to find a break, and it might be from Spark. TJ gets gunned. But where are the rest of LAG here? Vivid pushes through the front door. Methodz still surviving. It's Nero on a 6 spree in and amongst it as well. Things might not work out for Boston, but a 7 spree here and a glide bomb secured for Nero could be huge. Methodz will find another, but the round could be even better here for the side of Boston. The kill comes through for Nero. That could be massive if we do go to her. I mean, he's called it. He's called it immediately.
He is, and the reason why is LAG only have 8 lives remaining. Make it 7. Make the pressure come through. TJ gets another one down. It may not even be time. They might even need it. They just need the kills, but Nero continues to run on a 9 streak. Looking for the 10. It doesn't. He's just been stolen away from him, but the kills are going their way. Neptune, give him another kill. He's going for it, Nero. The hero has just put the dagger into LAG in this control. You thought they could hold it. They thought they had round 5 secured, but only Huke remains, and down he goes to Nero. And Boston Breach blow them out of the water.
The ballsy call from Nero to bring it in. A safe man would say save it for the potential of round number 5 if we do go there, but they're in such a good position. He says, right, let's just take it into my own hands. It ends with 11 kills in a row. He was the hero of round number 1 for Boston as well. A seriously tippable performance from the side of Nero, 34 and 16. He was traded not once at all, basically. Only 5 of his kills were traded. 29 in that game from Nero. Insane.
Oh my goodness.
Collectively, he found 16 kills without dying towards the end of 2 different rounds that Boston then won. MVP level performances from Nero. That
I got a little stat to hit you with as well, Tan, and I'm probably going to be corrected if this is wrong. LAG had 8 kills remaining. I'm fairly certain Nero found 4 of them. That's unbelievable. Because obviously he got the 7th, that was his glide. That went down to 8. He got another one with the glide bomb. That would have put him onto 8 kills, and then he got 3 more. So 4 kills out of the remaining 8. He took them all down. And basically just made a difference. LAG were feeling secure. They had defense on that last round, and Nero said, all right, we ain't getting there, lads. Watch this.
It's just crazy. I mean, so many times we've seen both teams. Like, I would have. It was Vivid, Nero, Neptune, Huke as well to a certain degree. Every single time we were watching from their POV, it was like somebody's getting gunned every single time. But Nero I mean, what a way to step it up. He did have a very solid game across the board, but pick your moments. And he did so. That round number 1 was wild. In the end of that one, not quite as crazy, but we just about got there. The calling of the glide bomb for me, it just shows the confidence in that kind of player. Honestly, I didn't realize the lives has got so bad. At one stage I looked and they were pretty even. The next I looked and they just went. Nero went off in that final round. I mean, look here, sitting on 3, then he's sitting on 6, now he's got 8. Ends it on 11.
There's just not a lot you can do. Obviously, Nero not only was on a 6 streak there,
Try and kill him.
Basically put LAG on the back foot, but the pressure coming through for that glide bomb, you got to remember, he's just laying down plat, waiting for someone to pick their head up. I think it was Huke. Eventually said hello. He did it. Instant glide bomb call. Didn't even hesitate. Straight in to reduce the numbers and put LAG back. That meant that LAG had at least 2 players coming off the respawn. Boston were flooding through P5. And then Nero went, all right, I'm not quite done yet. It's more kills. And he could have had even more on that time. You got to remember, there were players that got away from him.
Yeah, and even in that situation, you know, when you see how it went down, if he does not find that kill, it is such a different story. Finds that kill, can then secure another, as you say. They're coming in off the respawn. It's easy for the glide bomb to find something there. Then from that, he just continued to dominate. Absolutely wild players out of Nero to secure the map there for Boston and puts themselves in a fantastic position heading into Berlin at hard point as well. Oh my man, I mean, that kind of performance is what we kind of know Nero for. Sometimes, you know, he's just kind of lingering around mediocrity, and then every now and then, no, listen, and then every now and then he pops off with a level of SMG play that we do not see often at all.
I'm gonna
no, he coasts most of the time, but then when he goes off, he goes off.
I think Nero's been Boston's best player for a while. I think
just in general,
we spoke about this, obviously, like outside of the kind of the start that Boston had, you know, when they went to that dip. I think Nero and TJ were holding this team down. Vivid seems to have rejuvenated Boston to an incredible degree, and I'm not that surprised. Nero has been fantastic for them over and over again, and I'm looking forward to see what the ceiling of this team is now.
He just has these games though every now and then that are just wild, and those are what make the difference though at the end of the day. As those kind of performances, fantastic from him. Mediocrity was maybe harsh, in fairness.
Yeah,
it's just the way that the time was there. Okay, you know,
mean.
but I wasn't meaning to be mean. I just mean that, you know, like, it feels like when he does go off, he goes serious, and when he finds those moments, I mean, it's very, very hard to stop him. 6 spree to secure round number 1, an 11 spree to secure round number 5. Oh, round number 4. Sorry. And now we're heading towards a Berlin hardpoint. Boston, they have struggled on occasion with their setups. 10th in hold percentage, but both teams effective at trying to find these breaks, 3rd and 4th respectively. So LAG, if they can find those kind of rotations that we talked about, they could be in a good spot. But if they cannot, Boston may walk away with this one, a 1.48 from Nero over this series.
Here's the kind of the crazy thing. I was looking back over the control just a second ago. Nero would have had the best KD on that team before the 11 streak. Like, he was doing work. I think he was like 23 and 16. And then obviously just went berserk all the way towards the end. The momentum now is firmly on Boston's side. And they'll be looking to end this right here. But can they? LAG obviously want redemption on the sticks. And Nero is already hitting this flank.
See if he can keep it up. Boston on the better side when it does come to locking down P1. Can they get some solid time here? Nero trying to push through, as we did see, but they have to lock this one down as best as they can. They've done a good job so far on the flank, though. It's going to be Huke. No surprise to see it. Boston will lock this one in, though. As mentioned, Boston have struggled in their setup. It's been a good start to it. 26 points and rising here. LAG not much to offer here towards P1.
Yeah, really good position actually for Boston. This is actually one of the maps that statistically heavily favors one side on the hard point. And it's basically all down to this P1. See a lot of points there as they go into the P2 rotation. LAG will be here first as Boston overextend through dock.
Both teams winning this map yesterday as well against their respective opponents. Just Seattle and FaZe, by the way. Neptune, though, trying to set himself up in a position to shut down this push. Comes in from Boston on the outside, but Boston are going to be here on numbers, find the kills as well. It's a lovely rotation. LAG being set up so well, and Nero just gun slasher like he's not even there. And all of a sudden, LAG are going to have to scramble to get themselves in a better position. They do have these spawns towards the duck side. Boston inside the point, though. Want to try and keep a hold of these spawns, as we know. Heading over towards the next hill. Not too bad of a spot to try and do something here. TJ, Vivid, combining well inside the point. Done some decent time here. Boston in a good spot.
They're looking for a TJ. Going around and around, looking for the players he knows is going to be around here. Eventually, Huke will be taken down. Now, it has been Boston locking down P2. Eventually going to be getting that time. But as we go towards P3, LAG are throwing up the defenses. Oh, Vivid holds his gunfight. Is he going to slip through? Or is he going to try and take that? I don't know if he got seen. He did, definitely did, actually. It's been called out. Slasher guns him. Maybe a little bit too smart for his own good.
I like the play, though. Fortunately for him, Huke is just exactly watching for that kind of thing. Now, here we go, LAG. Can you lock this one down? As I said, those rotations starting to come through for them, but look at the break coming through from Boston. All of a sudden, LAG seem to be crumbling. That control just did not go their way. Taking over against Nero, and now it's Methodz' turn. 6 and 3 out of him. He's the one that leads the break here for the side of Boston. 80-40. That Money Hill break comes on through, and it just comes on through again for the side of LAG. Nero's left all on his own. He did it on his own in the previous game, and he may well be doing it here as well.
His interactions are so much higher.
Oh my God!
Else in this lobby.
Oh, what?
Goes to work again and again. 10 and 9. The interactions from him is basically 2 of his teammates combined at this point. He's upping the pressure on this map, and it cannot be understated how important pressure can be on Call of Duty. It doesn't reflect in the stat sheet a lot of the time, but it just causes teams to buckle. You can see Boston still in the lead, still with the rotation of train.
You have that rotation, but LAG, we're talking about pressure, do have it yet. But towards these back spawns, good shots from Nero, giving him an MP40, and auto does not matter at this stage. Eventually, LAG do have the angles to try and force Boston off it. Keep an eye on that game time over towards the top, and keep an eye on the score as well. 100-53. Got some of the important numbers in their favor. Good shots from Neptune, though, as LAG gets some sort of control over towards P4. Got Boston kind of where they want them as well. Vivid has slipped the net, though, causing issue as best as he can. LAG not quite safe yet over towards this hill, and I'll lock down any time.
Vivid with a little bit of snap down to Neptune, trying to stay alive. Spark eventually does find him.
Oh, that's big. Spark keeps a hold of fire side here for the side of LAG, which will help them make this push over towards P5, and of course over towards P1 when we get there in 60 seconds.
Yeah, he's already looking for it. He's waiting. He knows somebody's going to be pushing us. Eventually, pushing a little bit up the map here. LAG have taken a bit of a back step, and coming through now is going to be Nero. Of course it is. It's towards P1, player coming through secret. Vivid's going to get him as well, and Boston are looking to flip this. It's only going to be Spar left alone in fire. Eventually goes down as well. Flasher trying to hold on here for LAG.
He's had a good performance in this series, to be honest with you. It's felt like he has really been at the races for the squad. Can't quite get Vivid there. That would have been an important kill if he finds his route into P1. For all that you don't have spawns, if you can get control of Ticket, make the push through the hole, just hold it from the front, it can make a bit of a difference. But at this moment in time, Boston seemingly winning most of the gunfights as Slasher and Huke do answer back. Oh, keep an eye on it. Nero wins an important gunfight over towards Fire. Boston are going to have control over towards P1 when we get there in 10.
Nero just going to try and put this off here as well, and somehow just gun Slasher. Slasher was pre-aimed in, he doesn't care. Nero staying alive, going to look for the long-range MP40. Sometimes it's worked, sometimes it doesn't. That time it is not going to. It's ambitious, but he will respawn anyway, and at the moment it will be Boston again here with P1 control. I know a long time ago the stat was basically this is where they got the majority of their time on Berlin hardpoints. It looks like it might be the same way again.
They got a lot of time on the first rotation, but you can't lose those gunfights. You set up, the ARs are up, it does not matter. TJ escaped with a slither of health. Will the push be expected? I'd imagine so. Shots coming in. It's a lovely break from LAG. Now to the side of Boston, you may well be on the more beneficial side to get there initially, but it's a hard break once LAG find a way through. Boston breach. Fumble that one just a little bit. They play for it so much over towards P5, and they get very little from it.
Wow, this game really does rest on a night edge, and obviously if you're LAG you really need this one to stay in it, so let's find out how they are feeling with a listen in.
Yeah, they're gonna be close already. You can
One guy
be
could
front
take
door.
it, bro.
He's dog. Zenny dead.
Yo, one could take it,
One's
bro.
getting to the left for sure. I hear you.
One guy's front door on you, I'm pretty sure.
Top door, Reese. One shot, top P5 dice. He's from
pushing out,
from warehouse, TJ dead.
Yo,
One shot,
flip.
one shot.
Wait,
Okay,
we're
they're
gonna
gonna flip head.
Yeah, we're definitely
I'm
gonna
getting docked same time.
Holding
Spawn P3, spawn P3.
Okay, I'm time.
Okay,
Could be hitting back left.
okay.
Could be back left. Could be hitting P1. He's coming. He's one door. One shot, open steps.
I got one P5. Vinny's there too. Vinny's
No,
top.
two there, man.
Vinny's one shot.
He's one shot in time.
Take it.
One shot in time, Nero.
I'm taking the right route.
Okay, good time.
We have the rotation. We have the rotation.
I'm getting to the back.
He just catwalk. Going P5.
He might be on fire, bro. Yeah, I hear you. I didn't stun him in there.
One guy.
Fire tank. I hear you.
Fire tank Nero. Fire tank Nero.
One guy's up. Fire tank. Didn't was close here. He's up fire. He's up fire.
Okay.
Fire two on fire. He jumped up from fire.
Yeah, no, he's top three fire.
Fire tank. That's
Two
TJ.
dead.
It was
Last
TJ.
guy dead. Last guy's at old.
Push him down.
P5. Full health.
Yeah, I'm getting
And
a fire.
I detonated across you.
On
old Reese. One shot old.
One guy's in fire, right?
Careful with the spawners. Yep.
Yeah, I'm holding fire.
I think he's docked. No, you're good. I have your sheet. He's back left. One shot. Literally bullet.
Yeah, they're gonna work up the street.
He's on the street. Reese. One shot on the street.
Spawn out.
He pushed up on the blue
Spawn
truck.
down.
Pushed
I'm
up on the
fired
blue truck.
You have 10 time per front. Weak killer. Nice.
Nice in the back.
You see now, Kyle?
Yeah,
In the back,
in the back.
close back. One shot dead.
I'm in the back,
Shadow
Shelly.
spawning there, Skylar.
Yeah, yeah.
One's in
Jump
fire.
to me.
One's in the back.
Turn up.
Fire cubby, up time. And one guy got me in the back.
Fire could be
One shot
turn.
by fire.
I couldn't get in. He's still in the low stuff. Close up, Nero. One shot in the back. One shot in the back, Nero. Absolute.
Dude, Methodz holding back too. He's holding back.
Absolute back, Nero. Deal.
Nice, good one.
He's
In the back.
In the back, Reese. One shot.
I got it. Double back.
Three.
Go. 3.
Perfect. He jumped in. I don't know where he's
Back.
Back. Triple window.
All good.
Triple window. Going to time. I don't see him. He's close right. Yeah, that crazy. One shot. Yo, we need to. I'm rotating.
Yeah, I'm going for fire.
We need to lock this down.
One guy bottom fire.
I'm gonna go. He's outer.
Nero's going statue.
One shot outer. We're gonna flip. No, we didn't flip. He's outer. Got five. I flipped. He's on me on hold.
He's inside lobby now.
All dead.
Yeah, we got this show.
Yeah. Wait, one guy. Yo, water tank behind this guy.
Well, in the comms, LAG are trying to find their feet on the map. They are being taken off of them. You can already see Boston held it down into a perfect train rotation, and now the time is coming to a close. Can LAG find anything out of this ton?
It's quite simply a disastrous 60 or so seconds for the side of LAG. Broken a couple of times left and right. Eventually, Boston find control over towards P3. They have control of P4 and flip LAG back towards it when they just about need to. 20 seconds away for the side of Boston Bridge, who have not slowed down since that final round of control. LAG need a minor miracle here, Bryce.
They do. Nero gets 2 more under the board, and Huke is trying to get TJ off of this one as well, looking for it, but Nero actually ends up with a pistol, and it's blown out of the water again and again. Boston Breach bury the LA Guerrillas. They looked like they were having a good time, but it was not to last. Unbelievable pace setting there coming out of Boston Ton.
And it's pretty much a close game up until we get over towards P2 in that second rotation. Boston do well there. Rotation comes through from LAG. They do not hold. And from there, Boston just play perfect hard point. They flip them right back when they need to. And the streaks towards the end were lit up on the side of Boston Breach. Phenomenal performance. And one that puts them in such a good spot. They were looking so desperate for points. Their schedule looked horrible. This is one of them that you would have expected them to find some points from, and they do so, alongside finding ones that you wouldn't have expected them to do so. Setting themselves now at 160 points. They are 40 points away from that 9th spot now, Bryce, and that is a good position to be in.
It is, and I kind of got to highlight Nero here. It's not about the KD, It's about the unbelievable pressure he put on the map. Some ridiculous amount of interactions coming through in the end. You can see here, 54 interactions for Nero on that map. And the rest of his team aren't even close to that. He's got the most kills in the lobbies, but also the most deaths on his team.
I mean, just, it's relentless. I mean, this was wild. There was 1, there was 2. All right, okay, what? I broke the hill on my own, have I? Yeah, Slasher, we'll see you later. And Neptune gets, I mean, eviscerated.
Really? I was weak.
I hope he was weak. I pray to the Call of Duty gods that he was. But nonetheless, I don't think it would have mattered at this stage. Neptune died in the blink of an eye. It just felt like Nero just could not miss bullets. Every single gunfight we've seen him in just had one of those games that he does very often have. Phenomenal performance from him over the series. I'd love to see that KD towards the end.
I mean, he had a pretty good one in the last one as well, so I don't think it's gone down. It's gone up a little bit. We'll have to find out. Unreal performance coming out of Boston, and while it was a great S&D from LAG in the end, that is not enough to win you everything. Boston setting pace as they go back up one more in the standings turn, and LAG will be looking to find points somewhere else.
Yeah, that's a tough one to take. I think, honestly, the momentum that Boston have off that control really does swing into that fourth map. Expecting maybe a little bit more out of LAG there. That control, though, that's what completely swings things here. It has to be said, you know, Boston hold on the 1v1 towards the end, where Nero comes out on top, of course, to win that defensive round. If LAG find that attack, it's such a different story. Nero, towards the end of that round, of the control, wins it for them as well. The whole point, I said, it's a disappointing one, I think, from the side of LAG, but they look to bounce back. That it wasn't a terrible performance, just some of those moments here and there went the way of Boston, and that ultimately is what makes the difference.
Well, what a difference it did make, but we're going to hand it over to our desk now to figure out exactly what happened during that series.
Respawn is the name of the game, baby. And when it comes to Nero, he says, yo, hold my beer, man. Let me put some butter on your toast real quick. Once again, killed it in control. I want to see his stats. Carson, if you're watching right now, I need the stats. I think he has like a 2.0, man.
Bro, the guy went nuts. Yeah, he was going crazy in this series, the amount of pressure that they apply. I mean, it's not just him, though. It's the plays that the team is making in general. Like we saw where they really took hold of that game. It was, they got a ton of points on P2, and then they managed to break into P3 as well. We saw Vivid and Nero go through fire and side plat. They get one kill, they get taken out, but they redirect all the attention towards them. Zinni goes around the back and gets the spawns, and they get that time as well. Yeah. It's like the turning point of the game. It was nearly tied prior to that situation, and it's just their chemistry and their teamwork. It's gotten so much better, but it's on the back of the aggression out of the SMGs. Nero is making miracles happen on the map, and that control at the very end certainly was a miracle.
And speaking of Nero, listen, you ask and we give. We have Nero for the Game Fuel Victory Spotlight. Yo, the Ohio native, what's going on? Yep. Congrats on the win. Shout out to you, man. My question is, yo, how fun is it playing with Vivid, man? You've been crazy lately, dude.
It's so much fun. I mean, his comms are impeccable, so he literally just tells me to go rogue or to kill. But the last couple matches, he literally just said, yo, follow me up, and I follow him up, and you know how it ended.
Nero, man, congratulations on the win. You have become such a good player in our league, headed your way towards stardom. I want to ask you about control, because you guys have been one of the top control teams that we had throughout Stage 4, which isn't characteristic of the Boston Breach. So what's the difference in that game mode, or what have you guys realized?
Well, one is the player lives more, because before, well, especially for me, because I used to literally just throw away lives. I used to get 10 deaths around, and that's should not be, that's unacceptable. So it pretty much just base it around kills, and if you get kills, win by kills, and if you can't get kills, just stack the point.
Talk me through the final moments of that control as well, because you were pushed up in the top radio, you had an AR in your hands, you're making plays, you're staying alive, your team dies, and you somehow get out to plat, finesse your life, and pick up the glide. So what was your plan there, or what were the comms like in that situation?
Well, the plan was for me to hold green and to push P5 and someone flank, and I pushed plat by myself and didn't even say a word and just got pieces. Honestly, I didn't even say anything.
You went rogue, man. That was nasty.
It was dope. It was dope. Yo, you killed it, man. Oh, make me a promise before we get off this interview. You're winning the next S&D, right?
It depends on what S&D. But yes, I promise.
All right, Nero, man. Congrats on the big win. Keep winning, and we'll talk to you later, all right?
Yep. See ya. Thanks for our Boston friends too.
Hey, there you go.
I remember this time.
I forgot all about that. Hey, shout out to the Boston fans. Nero didn't forget to give you guys love this time around. Any step you want to put at the end of that interview?
I mean, honestly, people got to start putting some respect on Nero's name. I know people have been big upping him at times, but he really is one of the best SMGs that we've had in our league. I mean, throughout Stage 3, he was also the guy that was taking over games, popping up and search and destroy. Like, it's not like some fluke these last couple games he's had. No, he's been consistently going crazy and applying that pressure. And you could see Boston Camp was right. Adding a player like Vivid and taking that extra pressure off of Nero has helped him tremendously, because he's even been playing better since then. Shout
out to the GM and the coaching staff. Boston been looking fantastic so far this stage. And this year, I love this latest addition to the CDL. But ladies and gentlemen, we have a Scump player of the game. Guess what? It's going to be the end of control. And guess who's the star of this one?
Yeah, we just talked to him about this play, man. It was crazy. Like, I mean, at the end of his control, like, he literally was going nuts. Like, prior to this, like I said, he was by himself. Like, and he pushes up, he stays alive. He was alive for literally like a minute minute and a half at the end of this game. He picks up the glide bomb and just a ballsy play to immediately call it in and trust his teammates. TJ picks up another kill. Nero follows it up. And then at this point, LAG, they're scrambling. They know they have to get to the point as fast as possible before Boston stacks it. Nero's just picking up easy kills as they're focused on getting their util towards the hill. And, you know, they close it out here when, you know, Nero's just going nuts, man. He's on an 11 streak at this point by the time.
Yo, you saw the way he was chasing the kills, but the timing he was giving in between the gunfights, like he had people guessing. He was perfect. He wasn't just throwing bodies at the wall and hoping it sticks, right? He was
on the side of LAG though, like the communication must have been weird there because Nero was like shooting people in the back
and then running away.
They killed everybody and they knew Nero was the last one. They just couldn't find him and he was just laying down top plat. He wins the big 1v, but he still doesn't get isolated there. So weird situation on the side of LAG.
Oh, big time. Also, I want to say shout out to LAG, man. They didn't really look bad today. I see progression with this team. Hopefully they can pull out a big win next time to stay in that top 8 as well. But ladies and gentlemen, buy your tickets right now. Hey, look at the dates, man. The 8th through the 10th, it's coming up. It's right around the corner. You're gonna want to compete in a Call of Duty Challengers Open in Boston. You don't want to miss it. This is where just the passion and culture comes from Call of Duty. It's the best.
Absolutely. This is where we breed the next generation, and the next generation of Call of Duty players. I mean, they're freaks. They're coming in here absolutely frying in these games. We've seen players like Scrappy making a name for himself. It's gonna be awesome.
I can't wait to see Scrappy here next year. But ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the first series of the day. But coming up next, okay, we got Paris Legion and the Los Angeles Thieves. I don't know what to make of this next series, but we are gonna break it down right here on the desk. Shout out to the Boston Breeze for just running crazy, and rightfully so, right? And running is the key where Nero and Vivid are on people's heads right now. Who's gonna stop him? We'll find out soon, but we'll catch you on the other side of the break for some more CDL action.
Call of Duty League is brought to you by Game Fuel. Victory in a can. And upgrade your game with a Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. The Call of Duty League is brought to you by Zenny. Armor your eyes with Block's gaming glasses starting at $24 by visiting zenny.com/CDL.
For the rugged. Been a little too nice to y'all. Now I gotta up price on y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all. A6 all the hay. I won't get involved today. Got lost in the ball and A's. I'm flipping the bars. I'm flipping the.
Octane.
That's what we wanted. That's what I'm talking about. He don't miss. All record deals. Tell him talk to Colin for the quote. All record eyes. Still want to act, not the ghost. For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable.
Ladies and gentlemen, my Call of Duty people, what's going on? And welcome back to the Call of Duty League. My name is Veli. You guys already know the deal. This is Nameless, right? And behind us, you're about to see the games that's about to be played. We got Paris Legion and also Los Angeles Thieves. And we actually have the maps and modes ready. You ready to take a look?
Do have the maps and modes. It's going to be a little interesting. Obviously, we're going to favor LA
really
Thieves
interesting
in this series. But on the first two maps they have in this series, these guys have not been great on a 5-game losing streak on that map number 1 on Tuscan, and then another 4-game losing streak on that map number 2. So it could get interesting early on in the series.
Oh, it can get really interesting. But let's talk about FaZe. LA at first. LA played against FaZe last time. They took the distance, but the thing was, even though the Thieves couldn't steal a search and destroy round at all,
they dropped the double
they dropped the donut. Okay,
Come on.
I like to talk trash about the Thieves, but let's say this though.
Go puff
it was
yourself
a
around.
very good game if you close your eyes during the search and destroy rounds, but still. LA, I'm looking for them to bounce back against Paris. Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, point blank period. They're going up against Paris. This match, you need to come out and look good in search and destroy. We've seen them come with different looks, the fast pushes, the slow play. Nothing has worked. It all comes down to mid-round adjustments for this team. They have it in them. We saw it at the Major when they played against the Minnesota Røkkr. They can do it. Please come today prepared in search and destroy.
The question is, do they want to do it? We're going to find out very soon. But for the game field key, it's a victory. All right, follow me, right? They're going to have to rebound in search and destroy. 0-12 round count versus Atlanta last week, and Octane has a 0 to go along with that, right? But you're going to have to continue to lock down defensive rounds on Gavutu control. I will say this, though. LA Thieves are looking a lot more comfortable on Gavutu, and I will also say Kenny has been absolutely fine with the AR. Hopefully the team comes together and they get some really good wins coming up soon.
Yeah, looking at LA Thieves, like at some of the stats that Carson sent over, like they're 11th in 4v3 win percentage on that game 2 search and destroy. Like, that's an easy fix. Like you get that first blood, you work together, and then you just play disrespectful. We've seen FaZe do it when they get that first blood. They just push together, they take sight, and they make you play the trading game, which more often than not, going up against talented players like you have in the LA Thieves, you will lose that, right? So you have to just communicate and get through these rounds.
What they're going to have to do, I'm going to see them pick their worst S&D maps against Paris Legion. Good practice, right? But also when it comes to Paris Legion, positives. They won Tuscan control against OpTic Texas, and other than that, Johnny had a good game. I'm kind of out.
Yeah, well, when we talk about them playing spoiler, this is like the biggest game where they can play spoiler. Because Thieves are still sitting like on that bubble. We saw a couple of the teams around them get some W's. So for Paris, Johnny had a crazy performance in their last series, and honestly, like both these teams are pretty dreadful in S&D, so it can be a toss-up in that game mode. If Johnny can get up close and personal, get those first bloods and fluster LA Thieves, they can have some success here, especially with how we've seen in control what Paris was able to do. Like yesterday in that control game mode, they look good. We saw them in that initial control that they had, and it wasn't too bad. So like even versus Seattle, it wasn't as bad. So let's get into the game field keys of victory for Paris Legion. They need Temp to get going here in stage 4, 0.88 KD. He just can't mail it in. This is their champs, right? We know how Temp can be. He gets frustrated. We see it visually. Like he has to focus on and be the leader for these guys.
I'm not mad at him.
And then he has to take advantage of reeling Thieves on map 1, Tuscan Hardpoint. Thieves are on a 5-game losing streak on that map, so some opportunity early on in this one.
Hands down, Paris Legion are going to have to play spoiler one way or another. They're going against the LA Thieves, the most up-and-down team that we've had in the CDL all year long. Let's take a look at the maps and modes that we're going to play on, of course. I think that if Paris really wants to cause that upset and shut everybody up, this is the time to do it, fellas. We're kicking things off on Tuscan Hardpoint. We got Tuscan, Gavutu for the first 3. We're going to end it all on Desert Siege.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, there's some opportunity early on in this series for the Paris Legion. That Gavutu control heavily going to be in favor of the Los Angeles Thieves. And then when we get to that Game 5 Desert Siege, we've seen how Thieves have played that on that map before. They were good at it at the major, but recently they haven't been as great, especially on their fast beat. Like, they try it it's their most used strat, but it still has not been working for them.
Right.
So they have to switch it up.
We're going to switch it up. I have to ask you your predictions right now.
LA Thieves, period, 3-0.
LA Thieves, 3-0. 20 minutes. Hey, let's send this over to the caster cell for the second series of the day. I will say this, though. Let's see if Paris Legion can prove to be the Grim Reapers of the CDL in this matchup against the red-hot LA Thieves. Let's go ahead and get this game started.
Let's do it, guys. Hey, you got to give us a little bit more than that, man. Just a quick 3-0, that's it?
I'm
with you.
Been facts,
I'm with you.
Point blank.
Come on. Not one map.
Lando, what's your prediction?
No, I mean, listen, I hope Paris can make a run, win a couple games in losers bracket, but these guys have been buns for months, and they're going up against LA Thieves who need to make it into champs. Like
I saw the Guerrillas beat Atlanta FaZe yesterday. Anything is possible.
Guerrillas won an event. Paris ain't winning an event this year, man.
Listen.
I know.
I hope Paris can make something happen here, but I live in the real world here on planet Earth, and it's not happening.
All right, we're going to revisit this. We're going to revisit this after this series. If Paris do not win a map, I will happily eat my words. But Jay, I mean, what, man? Speaking of eating, LAT, they've been eating a lot of donuts lately. We're hoping they can cop a W today versus the Paris Legion. I know that you think this one's pretty clear-cut. I think for the most part, it probably will be. But like we said, man, Major IV, it is full of craziness.
Yeah, I just think that the Thieves, they're coming out here a team on a mission. Obviously, the last loss they took versus Atlanta FaZe all the way into Game 5. The fact that they got to a Game 5 by losing both Search and Destroys 6-0 is kind of insane. So they're playing with some extra fire today, going up against a Paris Legion roster who are still trying to do their best to really compete at Major IV. They haven't really shown us yet anything throughout this stage. Johnny has had some good moments, but you're going up against the LA Thieves roster who are on the rebound. So this is going to be very scary for them. They need to come out and answer early in this map, number 1.
Yeah, both teams, obviously, as we mentioned, trying to get that early Game 1 out of the way. Because as we know, Jay, the Search Destroys have not been pretty for either of these rosters. It feels like a toss-up. It feels like a coin flip as we fly in for Tuscan to kick this one off. We're looking through the eyes, really, of everybody. Now, as we take a look at the outside perspective, shout out to the Hot Hands Lounge, letting us know exactly how this one is going through, and apparently it is a ton of nades, Jay.
Yeah, and that's going to be the Thieves with early control, even when spawning on the bad side. This is statistically the Thieves' #1 hardpoint. They are the best hardpoint team in the game at this hill specifically at 67% win rate. They're winning their rotations multiple times. They outscore opponents by 20 points. And you can already see it here. They have mid-map control. They're cutting off backside tree. Now with 25 seconds left, even if they get broken here, when you're starting on bad side, when you get this much time, you're going to be able to take it. Now you're fully set up off the rotation.
Yeah, obviously, if you're Thieves, you are a little bit frustrated that happens, but at the end of the day, as you said, you've got that spawn now and ready prepared for P2. Temp will try to lead the way. It was kind of one of the more interesting statistics so far about Major IV. Jay's got a 0.88 KD through their very first 2 matches. We've seen some improvement from Gravity.